My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and in Australia. So we're hoping some Australians come to this area right here and start a business.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't it be fun?
And it is amazing how many places they can find you now.
I know, isn't that amazing? It's just kind of, I'm not doing it's a God thing, so
Well,
it can't be anything I would be doing. I wouldn't know how to do it. But we have our awesome mayor with us right now, and this is Chuck Abels, and he is the mayor of Geraldine, Alabama. And if you're just watching us right now, and you're thinking about relocating a business, come to Alabama and in specific, come to Geraldine, Alabama. We'd love to have you, wouldn't we?
can't think of a better place. I mean, we have some some new businesses coming. We've got businesses that have been here 100 years and great school, and we've got what you need. We've got gigabit speed internet. Thanks to farmers, do a great job. We've got sewer here in town. We've got great utility rates because almost all of our utilities are through co-ops and provide dividends and it's just a great place to be.
Well, I gotta say something. You mentioned the internet. So we were in Tennessee this past week and doing a lot of interviews and things like that. I've got to say they didn't have near the good internet we've got right here because I had the weather to do every morning as well as interviewing folks, and I could tell a huge difference in the internet speed.
Yeah.
So how did we get it so good?
And not only do we have it, we were the first place in Alabama to have it, other than just one little spot around Opelika. But it's just we've got a great farmers telecommunications co-op here, and they're just so forward thinking, and they've been here 70 years and just keep expanding and doing things. And they tried the cable TV for a while. It didn't work like they wanted it to. So they're there to make a profit. I mean, that's not a bad thing.
That's why everybody's in business, believe me.
But again, it's a co-op, and we get dividends every year. I mean, every person that has an account with farmers gets a dividend, and
I think that's a great way to run a business.
Yeah.
There are some grocery stores that do that.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, the grocery store, my son is he's a minister, but he is also in the grocery store business, and it's great. I think the employees take better care of the business.
Absolutely.
When you've got a piece of the pie.
Yeah, and they do an annual meeting and always have gifts for everybody. And last couple of years they've had to do it a little different. Usually they'd have it, a big get together with music and all kind of things. And last couple of years, you go by and sign up. And, this year I think they gave everybody that signed up like $20 off on their phone bill, and just real good people.
They'd buy some gasoline.
Yeah, it will. And we've got people here that will work also. I mean, it's great to go in our businesses and see teenagers and young people in there working, and you don't have to pay them $20 an hour.
Well, the cost of living is so low here.
Yeah, it is. And I nearly always mention about just calls I've gotten from people and say, I think I'd like to live in Geraldine. Tell me about it. I mean, just
we'll take you in.
People that have seen land or houses for sale on the internet, and I mean, just in the last couple of years, I mean, I could tell you about people from Savannah, Georgia, and Waynesboro, Mississippi, and Florida, and Indiana that have just saw something for sale on the internet and moved here, and they're still here,
Yeah.
And this one young lady that I mentioned several times, I know, named Tia, that she's just had a birthday. I think she just turned 26, but she moved up here a couple of years ago, bought a pretty good size, 20 acres or something like that, and grows a lot of her own food. But now her parents have moved here, and her sister and her husband and little boy have moved here.
Great, thank you.
And her parents were living in Indiana. Her sister was living in Florida as well. And she called me one day and said, she said, I promise I've looked for land in all 50 states, and just asking some questions about zoning and some things like that. And it fit what she wanted to
We
do.
need to get her on the show sometime.
Yeah.
That would be a whole lot of fun. And then I think it's known worldwide about the Sand Mountain tomatoes.
Yeah.
My stepfather said one time that he was living in Chicago. This is back in the 50s, I think he said. And he said people were actually buying tomatoes from Sand Mountain in Chicago.
I heard it a lot when I was in college at Samford in Birmingham, and one of the guys I went to school with 50 years ago, 50 something years ago now, in college, called me or texted me this year and said, "Are the tomatoes ready yet?" he lives in Birmingham, but he was gonna come get him some Sand Mountain tomatoes.
It's a perfect climate, perfect everything here for growing everything.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are really getting into gardening now.
Yeah, they are. And I've really been happy to see a lot more cotton being grown this year.
Oh, I've noticed that.
It's always, I mean, of course, it was just mainly cotton, when I was a kid, but got into corn and soybeans, and potatoes grow great here, and but a lot of cotton being grown.
Cucumbers will really take over your whole garden.
Oh yeah,
too.
yeah. And as Paul Harvey would say, in the country, you always locked your car during the summer so people wouldn't come and put zucchini in there. I mean, the squash. I mean, if you don't pick it every day,
you better hurry.
Yeah.
It really can get out of hand. But yeah, we also have great farmers markets. If it's something you just want to be out in the country and you really don't want to grow anything, you're busy with your career, whatever. Well, we get that. But we have a real good farmers market too.
We do, and just something we've been doing just for a few years now, and up at our park and a covered pavilion, and it's out, a lot of trees around. It's shady and nearly always a breeze. A pond out there to look at, and
can you see me out there?
Homegrown. Yeah.
Could you see? No, could you see me though? If I'm out there with some of my fruits and vegetables, I would never see the customers.
Yeah.
I would be looking at the pond all the time. You'd be going, Donna, you got a customer out there. It's just beautiful. It's a beautiful scenery, and it's something for everybody. I mean, if you want to walk and keep in good physical health, you can do that. Always something for kids as well.
Yeah. Got a great park, great walking track, and we're doing something new this year with Christmas in the park. Going to let businesses, churches put Christmas trees around the walking track, and we've put in some electrical outlets now, so we can have those in our park. We put up new lights 2-3 years ago, and it's open all night long, and in the summertime, get a lot of walkers at night, and of course we've added beach volleyball court. We've got pickleball and tennis and basketball, and then our fields for the youth sports. And we're moving along, building another field mainly for t-ball, but it'll be big enough for youth softball and baseball as well, and got that in the works, and always open for suggestions. That's where the beach volleyball and the pickleball came from. Somebody says, "Hey, I'd like to do this," so we worked it out and got that done, and but
we have a lot of events that come out through the year too.
We do, so. And just this week on Halloween night, we had our trunk or treat that we do every year, and had a lot of businesses and churches that came to give out candy, and they were giving out calendars, and I'm sure some people got invited to church, and some little flyers and things like that. And then the council had hot dogs and drinks,
Hmm.
and
It's such a great alternative, and we live in when we're in the country, so that way you can just you don't have to drive so far, use up all your gasoline,
yeah,
and just go to the. I mean, this is just a great thing for the kids too.
yeah, and I mean, I'm sure we had at least 700 people come through, and uh, but it's school lets us use the gym for that. Had it in the park for a few years, and one year, a few years back, people had their tents set up and all that, and we got about 40, 50 mile an hour wind, and the tents went flying
I've
out
done
and
that
raining,
before.
and one year we had some sleet and snow on Halloween, and so being able to have it in the gym, we just plan on that, and school's real good. I mean, obviously they're having some of the teams are practicing basketball, so they have to
Hmm.
schedule around that. But Mr. Mayfield, the principal, is always real cordial and helpful in letting us do that. And the coaches put the tarps down for us, and uh, we had a big crowd. You can look at Geraldine, Alabama Facebook page and see pictures from last night. I'm sure our Donna has got those posted. She made a lot of pictures last night. And,
She's awesome, Donna Johnson.
yeah,
You're doing a great job, girl.
yeah. Andrew Harrison and his family came
Didn't
last night.
they?
Yeah, one of our judges in the county
Got
from
some
Fort
cute
Payne.
kids.
Yeah,
Now that's one daddy that loves his kids.
yeah,
Every picture you see of him, even when he's in court, the
yeah.
kids.
Got three pretty. I mean, kind of one right after the other, but
Little doorsteps.
yeah, but they're good kids, and I mean, and I've known his wife since she was in high school. My
Hmm.
wife Catherine was one of her teachers, and she was in chorus, and we went on several trips and got to know Jessie, and uh, she's a prize.
Yeah, she is. She's definitely the woman behind that man.
Yeah, yeah. She had her Halloween outfit on last night, and along with the kids, and had several people from out of town.
Mhm.
Shannon Allen's wife and kids came from. He's a Seven Mountain Reporter guy, and I'm sure he was working, but
Hmm.
Mallory and the kids came, and it was great to see them. Hadn't seen them in a while, and I just say a lot of people I didn't know,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's just for anybody that wants to come,
Hmm.
and I had somebody call yesterday. Why are you starting at 4 o'clock? Some people have to work, and I said, well, I guess because we started at 4 o'clock last year, and we just yeah, but it was Saturday last year.
I think it's a great thing though. People can come in shifts and everybody's
Oh,
not coming at
it
the
worked
same
out
time.
great. In sometimes in the past, I mean, there's been a line. I mean,
Hmm.
300 yards long, and
I think
last
that's
night
an excellent idea.
it was just a
Hmm.
steady flow, and pretty soon after 5 o'clock, there was another
Hmm.
kind of group come in, but there were people coming in nearly all the time from 4 o'clock to about 6:15,
Hmm.
and a lot of the people were running out of candy by then. But like I say, we did 640 hot dogs and drinks, and they about when everybody ran out of candy, we had a few hot dogs. And then I noticed football practice was getting over, so
Here they come.
took care
Get
of
ready.
that. And all the drinks were gone, and so I'm sure obviously a lot of the little kids didn't get a drink or a hot dog. So, uh, but all our council members were there to help out with that. And of course, Donna was there, and our police chief was there,
Hmm.
and uh,
Well protected.
yeah,
and,
yeah,
and everything.
it was just,
Last week Phil and I were at an event. It was a music event. Rob Patz, who owns Abundant TV, actually put this event on, and so he asked me to come do some interviews, which I did. I don't know, 30 some. I lost count, Rob. I'm sorry, but anyway, it was such a fun time, and I would love to have had a dime. For every time somebody asked me where I was from, I would say Geraldine, Alabama, and some of those guys out there would say, Flip Wilson around. Flip Wilson. I had forgot about that.
yeah,
When I moved to Charlotte, people would say that
yeah.
too. They
Oh,
would
I
say
got that.
Flip Wilson.
Yeah, I get that sometimes
Yeah.
too. and you know, I mean, Geraldine is my place, you know, but just the surrounding area. I mean, Sunday afternoon, we had our granddaughter from Huntsville with us for the weekend,
Mhm.
and we were going to take her home. And I said, let's ride through Gunnersville State Park. It's 20 miles away,
Mhm.
and it was kind of on the way to Huntsville anyway. So we drove through, and I mean the leaves are just beautiful,
Oh,
and I'm sure we saw
breathtaking.
20 or 25 deer as we
Mhm.
were just riding through. I mean they were just over there grazing. You know,
Mhm.
some on the golf course, some just here and there, and uh, but the leaves and the trees. You know, we've got, like I say, Gunnersville State Park. We've got High Falls State Park, Bucks Pocket State Park,
Mhm.
all in, you know, just 15 miles of here. Then you go out to Lookout Mountain here in DeKalb County, you know, to DeSoto Falls and Little River
Mhm.
Canyon, and I mean it's,
It's
you know,
beauty all the way.
I,
It really is. We were in Dollywood and we were oohing and awing at all the leaves and everything. And Phil said, well, we got that at home, you know. I said, you're right. We do have it here. And you know, we have another new sponsor, the Hatter Cafe,
okay,
which
great,
is located in Mentone. You
yeah,
got to go by and check
yeah,
them out too. And that's a fun place.
it is a fun place.
My goodness.
I mean, there's, I mean, right here in DeKalb County, but I'll give a shout out to Mayor Rob Hammond at Mentone, and I mean they do a great job up there. Have a lot of what I'd call out of town people that actually live there,
Hmm.
or have
Yeah, some
cabins
of you
there.
say you ain't here from here, are you? But we welcome you in. We want you to come.
And you know, I didn't choose to be born here, but you know, then after college and 20 years in Birmingham, I chose to come back.
Yeah, we
And
came back too from living in Charlotte.
one of my great uncles one time said the two smartest things I ever did was leave Sand Mountain and come back to Sand Mountain.
I look at it exactly the same way.
Yeah,
There was just it was awesome living in Charlotte. We love it, and I still got a bunch of friends, and our friends watch this show too. And so it was pretty. As a matter of fact, some of my friends said, "You got this traffic report thing going on. Why don't you put Charlotte in there?" And so I went on ahead and added them about a month ago. But yeah, it's real. This is just a place. You know, you got to come back here, and it's so fun when you go to other areas. And people would ask me, were you from Texas?"
yeah.
Southern thing going on there, and I would say, "No, Alabama." And they'd go, "Well, you had to be one of those."
And somebody reminded me the other day, said, you know, there are 5 super Walmarts that you can get to within 20 minutes of here.
That's true.
And I said, yeah, and it took me that long when I was in Birmingham
No,
to get to one, you
right.
know.
Uh-huh.
But you know, we've got a Dollar General Market here that
Hmm.
it's got almost everything
Yeah.
that you need. It got remodeled this year and
Hmm.
made into a market rather than just a regular Dollar General. So they've
And
got,
good prices too on the food.
yeah, got food and you know, meat and fresh vegetables and
Hmm.
lemons and limes and bananas and potatoes and
It's fun
all that
making a
kind
sure
of
I want
thing.
a salad tonight for supper.
Yeah,
I don't have to go anywhere else. I just run up the road. There it
yeah.
is.
And you know, for a small town with 7 restaurants, I mean, you
That's
know,
pretty good.
I,
You know?
uh, I mean, you know, we're all the time working on trying to get more, you know,
Uh-huh.
but different ones. But that's pretty good for our little town because I some
Gives
of
the
the
variety too.
some of the neighboring towns kind of beat on me a little bit, you know. Said, you know, we've got one, maybe 2 places to eat, you know, and our people are coming over to Geraldine to eat. And I said, well,
Come on, we'll
you know,
take you.
you know, we've got, of course, we've got Jack's, you
Oh.
know, and which is a big deal in Alabama, and because they've got, you know, they do 3 meals a day, and you know,
Hmm.
got quite a variety, and got Mexican, got Subway, got Pizza Hut, got Tickle Pink. Love the
Hmm.
name. It's, you know, local people own it, and I mean they got everything from burgers and chicken and breakfast and tacos and
Hmm. And
paninis
the
and
meat they use in their burgers is locally grown meat
yeah,
too. So
yeah,
that's another reason you want to come here.
yeah. But And now we've just gotten a physical therapy place and
Mm-hmm.
got a great local hardware store. And
You know, my favorite doctor is here.
yeah, yeah.
My favorite doctor. I'm gonna tell you, she kept me out of the hospital.
Hey,
You're number one, girl.
we had our quarterly county mayor's meeting last week, and we get together and have a meal and talk about what's going on and try to help our other town. If anybody's got a good idea or
Mm-hmm.
found a good grant or something, and but I said something about our Geraldine Clinic and Michelle Stewart and mayor from Sylvania, about 25 miles away, said, "Hey, let me add to that." He said, "When I had COVID, he said, my doctor said, best thing I can do for you is send you to the Geraldine Clinic." And because Michelle had the infusions, and I just can't tell you what great people they are. And
I can't tell you either because I didn't want to go to the hospital. And I have asthma, so that was just wow, like wow.
Yeah.
But she did tell me now she's as sweet as she can be, very friendly and everything else. But she's also very matter of fact.
Yeah.
And I think she probably thought I may not behave. And I know what she told me to do. She said, "I can keep you out of the hospital, but you got to do exactly what I say." She was real plain with me about that. And that's the kind of doctor you want who cares about you.
Yeah. And she and her teenage daughter sang a duet at our church Sunday. They go to our church, and wow, it was just they did a great job. And first time I'd heard them sing together. I'd heard Michelle sing, but her daughter is a senior in high school, Sloan, and Michelle sang a duet, and it was beautiful. And but during the COVID, after 5 o'clock, after regular hours, she'd fill the place up with COVID patients and do the infusions, and kept a lot of people out of the hospital, and I'm sure kept some people alive.
Yeah, I would say absolutely. Her grandmother. Now Michelle and I call her Olga. That's really what her name is, but everybody around here calls her Ogle.
Yeah.
It was Olga, and she corrected Mother. So I took Mother. I said, "Mother, this is where you need to start going," and Mother's going there now. And so she said, "Are you Aunt Ogle's granddaughter?" She corrected Mother. She said, "Olga," and I went like that. So anyway, so her grandmother and my granddad are brother and sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So I didn't even know that. We have so many relatives. I don't know who they all are. And we lived away for a long time, so I kind of missed out on everybody. But she is a good doctor.
And I'll be glad when I can quit talking about this is going to happen. But our local bank, Liberty Bank, donated their old building to us when they built a new building, and we're in the process of a grant to fix it up to get the Geraldine Clinic moved over there. They just, they are a very small place and don't have room. And Michelle and her husband Jeff said, this is where we want to be. We don't want to be anywhere else.
Because they could go anywhere else.
Yeah.
They would be well received in a big town, big city.
Yeah, they would, but they want to be here, and so we're Congressman Adderholt's working on that and getting us some money to get that fixed up. And
that's a process. A lot of folks, if you're trying to get a grant,
Yeah.
it's not something you do overnight.
And he's told me, he said, got it passed through the House of Representatives, no problem. It's just a time and process, and just got to get through the Senate and be in the new budget and president's signature. And he said, I don't anticipate any problems, but it just takes a while. I mean, they got a lot going on.
No, really. The state of Alabama actually has a surplus of money.
Yeah.
That's another reason you want to come here. We're doing something right.
And after 2 years of COVID, got a surplus.
That's amazing. Yeah. I could not believe that. Because a lot of towns and a lot of cities almost went under.
Yeah, and states.
Mm-hmm. That's
true.
We like to run it like a home budget.
Yeah, yeah, and politics politics aside, I mean, our governor's done a great job, and our local senators and representatives have done a great job. They work hard and they take care of their areas, and we've gotten a lot of state money and through grants and different things, and
And I tell you what, I'm welcoming Jeannie Shaver with open arms.
Yeah.
I've known Jeannie for a really long time. We met each other it's when Governor Bentley came into Gadsden. And so that's where she and I met. We just hooked up. We were friends forever.
yeah. And she now, we do redistricting in Alabama every 10 years to make sure everybody has about the same number of people to represent and that kind of thing. And so have to get moved around sometimes and get different ones. But Jenny is our representative now, and I've just known her I met her 3 or 4 years ago at an event, but gotten to know her in the last 7 or 8 months, and
She's
her husband's a sheriff in Cherokee County, and so that's a pretty good sign that good hardworking people. He's a retired state trooper.
Oh, do you know she's a farmer?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Horses, the whole works. She does it. She was over in Weekend one day, when she was running for office.
Yeah.
So I brought her over here. I thought she didn't know. I just thought, well, she's in office. She doesn't know what, Come to find, she was telling me how to do some stuff. She said, "Oh no, Donna, don't do it that way. You need to do it this way." So you're getting that too. She knows how to can.
Yep.
That's cool.
And we a new senator to be in our district, Andrew Jones. He lives in Cherokee County as well, but he's been in office his second term, and he's been real good to come to our events and help us out with some grant money, and we appreciate him. We've had great representation though for a long time. For a while, Will Ainsworth was our representative. Now he's lieutenant governor, and Clay Schofield was our senator a long time. And you're gonna hear his name at some bigger offices here.
Yeah, I think so too.
One of these days. Just a great guy, and the Speaker of the House is Rainsville, Nathaniel Ledbetter, right here in DeKalb County, and so we've got some people, in our North Alabama now.
North Alabama, and that's key.
That the director of the Alabama Department of Transportation lives right here, and so.
And we've had just all over the state coming to our events right here in Geraldine too.
We have. Yeah, state officials have been up here, and when farmers did the gigabit introduction several years ago, I mean, we had people from Washington D.C. and Atlanta, from Montgomery, and just all over. It was a big deal because, like I say, we were about the first place in Alabama to have that, and some of the people that have moved here, like the people that moved from Savannah, had called and said, we're looking at a place up there, and but how's the internet? I said, my daughter and her husband, want to come too, and they work from home and need good internet. And I said, got the right spot, and they're just happy as they can be being here. And
well, you can just tell them if we can run a television show from here.
Yeah.
And just on a farm now, and people are amazed to hear that the internet is that good. It really is.
Yeah. And it's not a wait for it to.
No, I don't see any buffering or anything. No, I saw a lot of buffering last week.
Yeah.
It's irritating, but we got the job done.
Yeah.
It just took a whole lot longer. We're going to have to go into a commercial break, and we are going to be right back in just a few minutes. See y'all coming back. watching Afternoon Drive Home. My name is Donna Thusell, and I'm your host. Thank you again so much for watching. We know you can be doing anything else, but you're watching us right now. You can find us on television a couple different ways. Channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can find us worldwide. We're on Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Got to spend some time with Ron Patz last week, who owns the television station. He's doing an awesome job, and he actually got us in Australia. So, of all places,
Amazing.
so I had to ask him. I said, "Why Australia?"
Yeah.
I mean, I'm tickled to death. Speak English, the whole works.
Yeah.
Not Southern English, but they do speak English. And he said, "Well, there's a big Christian network there." And so they kind of sought each other out at the same time. And it just kind of worked out. So it was just something that was meant to be, and we're really glad to be part of it. So if you are watching us from Australia or anywhere else, we know you listen from all 50 states because of some of the messages I get, telling us to leave Sabin, and stay in Alabama, stuff like that. And so we're real proud to be part of it. Yesterday or last week we were going to the event, and then coming back, going through Knoxville. I was really proud to be living in Geraldine, Alabama. I'll tell you what, we got stuck, I don't know, several different times. Moving with 3 and 4 and 5 lanes. And you're looking at 5 lanes thinking, we get by faster than y'all do, and you've got 5 lanes of traffic.
And I say this a lot, but like I say, I lived in Birmingham 20 years, and I've been back for 34 years, and still every time Catherine and I go through Birmingham, at some point she always says, "I sure am glad we don't live here anymore."
I don't know why I used to like that.
You know?
We were living in Charlotte. I was all about it.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was having a good time. I mean, I had a job I liked.
Yeah,
and all
me
that,
too. I loved the station I was at. It was just awesome, And but there's some peace of mind, and there's something about gardening, and there is a reason. In New York, there are people who actually have gardening on their roofs.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's something peaceable about living in the country, and I do love it.
And and we moved back. I mean, basically, our kids were 8 and 5, and it wasn't anything, really that we'd planned to do. I mean, it's not anything other than God just made it happen.
That's what happened here. We just did it.
I mean, it's a little bit of a story, but I mean, that's the bottom line. And I mean, I quit my job, moved back here without one, and just because I knew it was the right thing to do, and it was. And things just worked out like they were supposed to, and got to raise our kids here, and now I've got one grandkid left in school here. That my grandkids are the 5th generation of my family to go to school here, and my grandparents graduated here in 1925, so it's been nearly 100 years since they graduated. So got a little bit of family investment here, and my grandkids are starting to filter out, though.
Yeah, but they'll be back.
Yeah. One in the Marines and one in the Army boot camp right now, and he's got about 4 more weeks to go at boot camp. But grandson in the Marines, and he and his wife have made me a great grandpa now.
Hey,
so
Marines are proud people, aren't they?
They are. Yeah.
In your church service, like when you have the 4th of July, they'll always have the military folks to stand up. Well, everybody stands up, but the Marines are the loudest.
Yeah.
They're the ones, yes.
And by the way, we're having a Veterans Day program at the school. I say we. I mean, the school is having it on November the 9th next week, and been doing it for over 50 years. And where they recognize, call out the names of every veteran that's there, and then again, thanks to Liberty Bank and James Barbecue furnishing my lunch, and but always a big turnout for that, and always a good speaker, and so it's November the 9th at 10 o'clock in the morning at the school, and don't have to be from here, but any veterans are recognized, and anybody else is welcome to come and enjoy the time, and it's real good. I speaking of our school, our football team is in the playoffs this week. Traveled to Winfield. They've got a great team. They're 9-1. We're 7-3, but we've lost to Piedmont, that was last year's state champion and undefeated. We lost to Fife, that was last year's state champion, and they're undefeated.
But I can't remember. We did win last year.
Yeah. We beat Fife last year to end a 51 game win streak they had going. Our volleyball team made it to the state again, and they did a great job, and proud of all our sports and our school, and got a good fellowship of Christian athletes going, and
Kim Hagan started that.
Yeah.
Back in 1976, I think it was, and she and I were going to Geraldine High School, and she actually started that program.
Saw her a couple of weeks ago. Always good to see her. She came up and visited her parents, and, and I get asked from time to time, well, what's the population of Geraldine? And I always have to tell a little story about that, because obviously you can Google it, look it up, and see what it is. Look it up, it'll show 910. Well, our school has 1,150 kids in school, and I always say, and some of those kids have parents. So the Geraldine community goes out beyond our town limits of 910, and
Grove Oak and some of those communities, the smaller communities.
And I just looked up recently. I was just curious, but within 15 miles of here, there's 35,000 people, and but just several communities like ours that where the school is the focus point, and but
I think this would be a good place for a Walmart. I know I'm getting it started again. Philip Fowler and I got that started a few years ago, and people actually thought Walmart was putting in here at Geraldine, and he is wanting rumors started. And of course, I went along with it, so I guess I'm not much better. But I think we're at the right spot. I mean, if you're in a Walmart somehow and you would like to put one out here, I just think this would be a great spot.
And
Target would be good.
Philip's probably the one that got started about a McDonald's coming too.
And
that was back before we had sewer. And when I'd get asked about it, then I'd say, I know they're not coming before we get sewer. Don't have anything worked out, but I can tell you for sure. But now we've got sewer, and we'll have some more eating places here one of these days. My saying is, I've not been told yes if I didn't ask. Been told no a lot, but I'm still asking about restaurants and businesses. And
well, we've been really blessed too to have all of our restaurants have been able to stay in business throughout COVID, and I know a lot haven't. I know we were going through, and just going up to the mountain to go to Dollywood, and you saw so many businesses out of business, and it was kind of sad. But I think we all stuck together.
Yeah, I saw a business the other day, not here, but somewhere else, that it was a new restaurant, a chain restaurant, and I thought, well, it looks like it's ready to go, and I pulled in and looked up there, and it said, basically everything's ready, we just can't find employees left to open it. But I thought, if you put that in Geraldine,
you could have brought it here.
You could have been cooking, and but anyway, I know that's
this is one of the few towns I don't see help wanted signs everywhere.
Right. I mean, I don't think there's one. Well, maybe James Barbecue is always, part-time people, and that kind of thing. But
that's just because that's the way he decided to run it part-time.
Yeah. But
his dad started that business, didn't he?
He did.
Almost like Paula Dean.
Yeah.
Paula Dean would actually make sandwiches, and her kids would go on bicycles and go to local businesses and sell the sandwiches. So he kind of did that, didn't he?
He did. He started in a truck, in a food truck, and he would park over by Liberty Bank,
Mm-hmm.
and man, his truck wasn't air conditioned, and everything. I see him in there sweating and cooking, and his name was James. That's
Uh-huh.
where the name came from,
Uh-huh.
and just a great man. I mean, he was just a great guy, and now his son Eric has taken over the business and has opened another location in Rainsville, and uh, they do a great job. Have daily specials, and uh, but I saw on their sign lunch special, barbecue sandwich, chips or fries, and a drink for, like $7.99 or
Mm-hmm.
maybe less than that. I don't know. And they're all time doing specials, and they have Friday night steak night, and there's always a
Mm-hmm.
big crowd. They do a great job with steaks. They've got barbecue, got chicken, and all wings and
Mm-hmm.
all the things that uh, good size. They do catering also.
Mm-hmm.
Do a lot of events. And
A lot of businesses have done that to stay afloat. Now they've been doing it years before COVID hit, but I think that's really good in our area in DeKalb County. Marshall County is included. We jump through hurdles.
yeah,
We don't just sit there and cry about it. We're
no,
just going ahead and just, well, what do we got to do to make
if
it
that's
work?
not working, let's do
Let's
something
figure,
else.
let's do something else. And that's really neat thing about a small business. You can do that.
Yeah,
I don't have any corporate bunch of folks I've got to ask if I can do it, and you just do it. You just make it work.
yeah. And we're doing a little something different this year for our Christmas parade. I know for the last 25 years it's been scheduled for the second Saturday in December at 2 o'clock. And, time or two we've postponed it a week because of the weather, but we're going to do it at 6:30 p.m. this year. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
had some people, and again, I mean, we don't need a suggestion box to put out there because almost everybody in town's got my
Yeah,
cell
we
phone
just tell
number,
you.
or see me at church or at the
Yeah.
store at the ball
Hey,
game.
what about doing this?
Yeah, and get a lot of good ideas. Get
Mm-hmm.
some that maybe we weren't
Haven't
ready to
been
do,
quite thought out.
but of course we'll have our Christmas lights up,
Mm-hmm.
our multicolored,
Uh-huh.
but we've got real nice Christmas lights.
Pam Clay paid you such a compliment the other day, and I love Pam Clay. So we're working out something, and we want you to be the first one on the show.
Oh,
Our mayor here, the first we're going to showcase him. But Pam said, something, when she comes from Albertville into Fort Payne every single day, and she said there's just something refreshing about going through Geraldine. She said it's clean. And she said, not all of our towns in DeKalb County are clean like that. So she wanted to know what your secret was.
well, there's a lot of things. A lot of people have good manners
Yeah.
and don't litter.
That's another reason you want to come here.
Uh, got a great maintenance guy,
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Brown, that uh, does
Well, some
everything.
of us are afraid our mothers and grandmothers
Yeah,
will get us by the ears
yeah,
if we mess up the town.
yeah. I had a mayor from another town that, he, every time I see him here, he said, "Oh, that's through Geraldine. He said, the cleanest place I've ever seen." And
It's because my grandmother started the whole trend. We're leaving, we bought the farm my grandparents lived in, and every time a cousin comes over, I'll say, no, look, when she had it, you could eat off the floors.
yeah,
But that's all she did,
yeah,
too. So,
yeah,
so it's because her grandmother's raised us the right way.
yeah. And but and we've selected Bobby and Vicky Satterfield for our grand marshals.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that grew up in the area, moved away, came
Come
back,
back.
uh, and they really do a lot for our town and our school, and just very generous people, willing to help out with anytime they're asked. And uh, a lot of the things I'm not allowed to tell, but you know they bought some land, built a new field house on it for the football team and the school, equipped it, donated it. I mean, you know, and but all the athletes are available. It's available to all of them to use. You know, they equipped it with new weights and I mean, with the uh, Renai water heater thing. You know that tankless water heaters. I mean, for the showers. I mean, just you know, working for Hibbett Sporting Goods, I was in a lot of locker rooms, and I'd never seen that in a locker room. You know.
Well, it's safe. It's much better. And
Yeah.
this makes me think. Phil and I went to Bolivia as a missionary trip one time, and so they were showing us around the showers and everything else. And they said, "Oh, by the way, don't touch that wire." And I was like, "What?" So we've got nice, secure facility and very, very good facilities.
And you know, just something about it reminded me we need to talk about Operation Christmas Child.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, Franklin Graham is head of that, and the shoebox is kind of the word to use on that. But you know, just fill a shoebox up with stuff, and it gets sent all over the world. And you know, I mean, since it started, there's been like I think it's 196 million boxes that have been shipped, and
it's always the right gift for the right kid. Always.
And you know, we had a speaker in our church not long ago that, as a 14-year-old in South America, was a recipient of a Operation Christmas Child.
Changes their lives.
And now he's living here and has a family. I mean, he was living in a one-room house with, you know, he said he never slept on a bed till he was 16.
Bunch of brothers and sisters.
Yeah. And had to walk a mile and a half to get water, and you know, no electricity, and but he got a shoebox, and he told a story about pulling this thing out, this round thing, it had a string, and he held it, and the thing went down, and it came back up. And of course, we all knew he was talking about a yo-yo. He didn't know what it was for, and so he and one of his brothers got him, and you know, let it go till it stopped, and then started using it as a weapon. That you know, they didn't know what it was for.
Really?
And but you know, but in the shoe boxes, you know, you always see toothbrushes and washcloths and
things we take for granted.
T-shirts and I mean, just a ball or you know, pencil and paper and you know, just things that you know you just can't believe. You know, it's hard to believe that people don't have that. And but it's a great thing. We participate in that in our church, and a lot of the churches around do that. And then there's always a group from our church that goes to Atlanta to the.
You guys always put together a lot of boxes as well.
Yeah, I think our goal is 1,000 this year, and we've been doing it a long time, and you know the kids get to come in and pack them, and you know with a adult supervision, but you know have you know some marked for boys, some for girls, and got them in the age groups, you know, and then a lot of them, there's a piece of paper where they can, whoever's packing the box can write their name and where they're from and how old they are, and a little bit about them, and with a picture of Alabama on there, you know, to show where this is coming from, and then always a little something in there about you know how you can be saved, and something about God, and then encouraging them to find a church in their area, you know, and but it's you know it's all the basic needs and then some, but it's a great ministry, and I'm happy. I mean, you know, like I say, a lot of churches in the area do that, and there's, you know, I mean, I don't have a list written down, but I've got a list in my head of, you know, if I see a family that needs something, I can make a phone call and say how much you need, you know, and you know, one of my favorite times, I mean, just learning about people was when we had a tornado that came through here, and ours was not near as bad as some of the other areas, but no loss of life right here in Geraldine, but some in the county, and we had people come in from other states to help with clean up, but we had people that would call town hall and say, how can I help? Or business, I mean, there are businesses in Boaz and Albertville and places that would say, if you'll come, Mill Street Deli in Boaz. I mean, I made several trips over there and would fill up a pickup truck load of I mean, just whatever we needed. I mean, they'd go to the store and shop for stuff if they didn't have it already. Place in Albertville that makes the Chinette plates. I called them, or they called us, and I went down there, and they came out with a forklift and set a pallet of plates on the truck. I mean,
that's the kind of community you're coming into.
Thousands,
business.
And I remember this was in 2011, but I remember a guy from Atlanta coming over here with a pickup truck load of bottled water, and just saw it on the news, and but again, people in the area. I mean, your neighbors, and didn't even have to be. I mean, there were people volunteering, go out. I don't know who these people are, but I see there's a tree down in their yard, or something, and but I really enjoyed getting to see people giving, and of course there was a lot of money donated, and said do what you need to with this,
and by the same token, we have folks here who go other places when there are disasters. The Cowboy Church brought some chuck wagons and went to Kentucky during the floods. So, and I remember when the hurricane hit in New York, upstate New York, up that way, a lot of folks in this area just piled up trucks and went out there and started helping.
We just had a couple of ladies from our church that are trained in where people lose things, that they go in and counsel as counselors, and they just went down in Florida for a week, and just to help counsel people that lost everything they had, and I mean, I don't know what you say to somebody like that.
I don't know. But, and in Shepherd's Cove, they're the same way. They actually come into the schools here in DeKalb County. If there's a loss of life, it could be anybody, and they'll come and counsel with the kids free of charge.
And I mean, go on and on. I mean, the Gideons, they used to come into school and give out Bibles, and that's kind of a issue now. But we've got a local Gideon, Bobby Austin, that always comes to graduation, to the baccalaureate, and it moves around at different churches. It was our church this year, but he comes and offers the seniors a New Testament or something like that. That it's not you got to take one of these, but offer them out there, and they have some great stories about people that have found them in a hotel room, or somebody gave them one in a jail, or
maybe thinking about committing suicide, and read just the right scripture.
Yeah, I mean, just over and over and over. But again, and of course, you can Google Geraldine, Alabama, and find out some information, or townofgeraldineal.com, Facebook page, phone number 256-659-2122. Just, plenty of ways to get in contact.
We want to bring you here.
Yeah, and we'll take care of you.
Absolutely. We've got a voting election coming up next week.
That's right. We sure do.
Got to get out and vote.
Yep. I know they're kind of expecting a low turnout, but I was reading through. I've got a little book of Abraham Lincoln quotes, and
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for some. I've been sending my grandson that's at Army boot camp a letter 3 or 4 times a week at least, and I had my Abraham Lincoln book out last night looking for some little quotes to send him and send him some Bible verses and things. But one of Abraham Lincoln's was his paraphrase, but he said, people are not necessarily elected by the majority. They're elected by the majority of the people that get out and vote.
That's true.
And so, if you don't get out and vote, don't be fussing.
I'm not going to tell you who, but there was some lady who ran for office. This is back probably a couple of decades ago. And so she was telling me she ran for office, and she said that she lost by 2 votes. She found out 3 of her kids didn't vote.
Yeah.
I can't believe they were dumb enough to tell her. I wouldn't have told her. I would have went, But they didn't vote. She would have won had they went out and voted. And I said, boy, I bet your Thanksgiving and Christmas was interesting, wasn't it? She said, oh, it was very interesting. Yeah. So you've got to, every single vote counts.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't listen to what people tell you. It really does count.
It really does, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a state Senate race this year that came down to a tie. And, thousands of votes. And there's a process for working that out, and they did. But one of my favorite Abraham Lincoln quotes, and I've got several up on my wall in my office, but he said he was giving a speech one time, and somebody hollered out and called him a two-faced liar. And he said, now really, he said, do you think that really if I was two-faced that I'd be wearing this one?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that one. Less than a minute left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before we go?
Oh, just, look us up.
And hello to Catherine, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Who's definitely the woman behind the man.
Definitely. Hey, she came and helped us with cooking the hot dogs and stuff yesterday. And
she gets her hands dirty like the rest of us.
Of course, we started that about 1:30, and, some of the council members have to work. Some of them came, and some of them came later, but Catherine was there helping with that, and always, helps with Christmas parade and all those other things too. But appreciate what she does. Appreciate the encouragement from the town. Somebody last night told me how much they liked our new "Welcome to Geraldine" signs.
Oh, I love it. It is awesome.
And
I love that.
But just check us out.
Thank you, Mayor, for coming on the show. When you hear a dog, I'm a very big animal lover. That's the timer. You take care. And we'll be seeing you a little bit later.
Thanks.
And hope to see you soon, Catherine.